A 12-story wall of water, moving at 400 miles per hour. 2 minutes to decide. Every instinct says run. Every survival reflex screams turn the ship around. But the captain standing on the bridge does something no one expects. He aims his steamship directly at the wave. Full steam ahead. His 111 passengers think he's lost his mind. The crew begs him to turn. He refuses. Because Captain Johann Lindeman understands something the others don't. The laws of fluid dynamics say running is a death sentence. Charging straight into the wall is the only way anyone on this ship survives. This is the story of a 2-minute decision, a volcano that erased an island, and the night that gave birth to modern meteorology. For 200 years, the volcano sat quiet, a lush green island in the strait between Java and Sumatra, the busiest shipping lane in Southeast Asia. Simon Winchester, Krakatoa, 2003. Dutch colonial authorities treated it as a weekend excursion. Tourists climbed its slopes. Sailors used it as a landmark. Nobody feared it. It didn't even have a functioning warning system. In May 1883, the island began to rumble. Small explosions, columns of steam. Ships passing through the strait reported hearing thunder on cloudless days. The colonial government in Batavia sent a surveyor. His report? Fascinating geological activity, no danger. They were measuring a firecracker and missing the bomb beneath it. The volcano hadn't erupted in 2 centuries, but the magma chamber underneath had been building pressure the entire time. By August, seawater had begun seeping into the chamber through fractures in the rock. Water meeting magma at 1200 degrees Celsius. The conditions for the largest explosion in recorded human history were set. The strait carried 40% of all maritime trade between Europe and East Asia. Dutch East Indies colonial records, 1883. Hundreds of ships, tens of thousands of people in coastal towns on both sides. Nobody evacuated. Nobody was warned. The island's name was Krakatoa. August 26th. The first major explosion tears a column of ash 25 kilometers into the atmosphere. The sound reaches Jakarta, 100 miles away. Ships in the strait report waves slamming their hulls without warning. The sky turns black at 2 in the afternoon. But August 26th was just the overture. On August 27th at 10:02 a.m. local time, Krakatoa detonates. Not an eruption, a detonation. The magma chamber collapses, the sea rushes in, and the resulting phreatomagmatic explosion releases energy equivalent to 200 megatons of TNT. That is roughly 13,000 times the yield of the Hiroshima bomb. 2/3 of the island, 9 square kilometers of rock, simply ceases to exist. The sound wave travels at 1,200 kilometers per hour. It reaches the island of Rodriguez, 4,800 kilometers away, where a police chief logs it as distant cannon fire. It is the loudest sound in recorded history, 172 decibels at 160 kilometers from the source. For comparison, a jet engine at full thrust produces about 150 decibels. The pressure wave circles the entire planet 3.5 times over the next 5 days. Barometers in London registered the pulse 36 hours later. Now the tsunami. When 9 cubic kilometers of rock collapse into the ocean in under a minute, the displaced water has nowhere to go but outward. The wave reaches 40 meters in height, a 12-story building, traveling at the speed of a commercial jet. It crosses the strait in under 30 minutes. The coastal town of Merak, erased. Anja, erased. Teluk Betung, destroyed. In 2 hours, 36,417 people are dead. Most of them never heard the explosion that killed them. The wave arrived first. In Lampong Bay, the steamship Loudon is trapped. Captain Johann Lindeman has been fighting the volcano for 18 hours already. Ash rains so thick it buries the deck in 15 centimeters of mud every 10 minutes. St. Elmo's fire turning the masts into blue torches. Crew members breaking down in terror. Then the water begins to retreat. The bay floor appears. Lindeman knows exactly what this means. He has perhaps 2 minutes. Nearby, the captain of the Dutch gunboat Baru makes the logical choice. Stay anchored, ride it out close to shore. A week later, search parties find the Baru in the jungle, 3 kilometers inland, wedged in the trees 9 meters above ground level, entire crew dead. Lindeman chooses the counterintuitive option. He orders the anchor chain cut, full steam toward the open sea, directly into the approaching wave. Then he does something that sounds like cruelty, but is pure engineering. He orders all 111 passengers below deck, seals the hatches. Here is why this works. A wave's destructive force acts on the broadest surface it can strike. A ship broadside to a tsunami absorbs the full lateral energy. It capsizes. But a ship bow first presents its narrowest profile. The wave splits around the hull. The vessel rides up the face and over the crest. The passengers below deck serve as living ballast. 100 people moved from upper decks to the hold lowers the center of gravity by several meters. This counteracts the tons of volcanic mud raising it from above. Without that shift, the Loudon rolls. With it, she stays upright. The wave hits. The bow lifts at an angle that exposes the propellers to air. The engine screams. For a moment, the ship hangs vertical on the crest and then drops down the backside. They break through. Every single passenger survives. 111 people brought home alive because one man understood physics better than fear. Krakatoa pumped 20 cubic kilometers of ash into the stratosphere. Global temperatures dropped by 1.2 degrees Celsius for 18 months. Harvests failed across Southeast Asia. Frost appeared in places that had never seen it. But something else happened. Sunsets around the world turned blood red. In Norway, a man named Edvard Munch saw the sky over Oslo glow an unnatural scarlet. He would later write, "I felt a great, unending scream piercing through nature." He painted it. You know the painting. Krakatoa was also the first global weather event tracked in real time by telegraph. Weather stations on 6 continents correlated the pressure wave, the temperature drop, the red sunsets. For the first time, scientists could prove that a local catastrophe had planetary consequences. Modern meteorology, the idea that Earth's atmosphere is one connected system, was born in the ash cloud of 1883. Captain Lindeman received the Gold Cross for his actions that night. He never fully recovered. The stress destroyed his health. He died in 1885, 2 years later, at the age of 47. The volcano that killed 36,000 people in a single morning also created the modern weather forecast. The island it destroyed? It's growing back. Anak Krakatau, child of Krakatoa, rose from the same caldera in 1927. It erupted as recently as 2023. It is still there, still breathing. The anchor chain Lindeman cut that morning was recovered decades later. It sits in a museum in Jakarta, still bent from the force of one man choosing attack over retreat.